राइट सो हाय एवरीवन। आज हम लोग पढ़ने वाले हैं हमारे अप्लाइड बायोमैकेनिक्स का आगे का पार्ट। राइट, so in the previous one we discussed the introduction of biomechanics, physiology। ये आज हम लोग देखने वाले हैं टाइप्स ऑफ फोर्स। कितने फोर्सेस होते हैं, कौन से फोर्सेस बॉडी पे लगते हैं एंड एवरीथिंग। ऑलराइट, first of all, what is a force? Force is that which produces the motion or modifies the motion of an object and moves it for a particular distance। जब तक हम लोग किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट पे फोर्स नहीं लगाएंगे, किसी तरीके का प्रेशर नहीं अप्लाई करेंगे, तब तक या तो वो बॉडी मोशन में रहेगी या फिर रेस्ट पे रहेगी। ठीक है, तो जब भी कोई बॉडी किसी पर्टिकुलर डिस्टेंस पे मूव करती है या कोई ऑब्जेक्ट किसी पर्टिकुलर डिस्टेंस पे मूव करता है, उस चीज को कौन मॉडिफाई करता है? फोर्स। ओके, so force is a vector quantity। हम सबने फिजिक्स में पढ़ा है that force is a vector quantity, that means it has a magnitude and it has a direction। okay, and the force may act on two varieties of object। okay, first is a static object, second is a dynamic object। now what is a static object? Statics is the study of conditions under which the objects remain at rest, मतलब कि वो रेस्ट पे रहते हैं, they are not moving। and dynamics are the study of the conditions under which the objects are moving। okay, so आइजैक न्यूटन के जो दो लॉज थे दैट विल गवर्न वेदर एन ऑब्जेक्ट इज स्टैटिक और डायनामिक, मतलब कि कोई ऑब्जेक्ट स्टैटिक है या फिर डायनामिक। नेक्स्ट नेक्स्ट वी सी द बेस ऑफ सपोर्ट। राइट, सो हमारे काइनेजियोलॉजी में कभी भी हम किसी पेशेंट को देखते हैं, व्हेनेवर वी नीड टू असेस देयर बैलेंस, हमको क्या देखना पड़ता है कि उनका बेस ऑफ सपोर्ट क्या है। मोर द बेस ऑफ सपोर्ट दैट मीन्स उनका बैलेंस ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा, बेस ऑफ सपोर्ट बॉडी का अच्छा रहेगा तो रिस्क ऑफ फॉल कम रहेगा। राइट, so base of support means the area supported beneath the object or beneath the body। okay, so whenever the base of support is more, stability will be more and vice versa। so greater the base of support, lower the center of gravity of any object। नेक्स्ट चीज हम देखते हैं व्हाट इज इक्विलिब्रियम। सो इक्विलिब्रियम इज बैलेंसिंग द स्टेट ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट वेयर ऑल द फोर्सेस एक्टिंग ऑन एन ऑब्जेक्ट और ऑन अ बॉडी आर इक्वल इन मैग्नीट्यूड एंड ऑपोजिट इन डायरेक्शन, दैट विल इवेंचुअली मेंटेन द स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ अ बॉडी। Now we see what are the types of equilibrium. So equilibrium can be classified into three types: stable equilibrium, unstable equilibrium, and neutral equilibrium। So then you'll ask me that, ma'am, what do you mean by stable, unstable, and neutral equilibrium? So stable equilibrium is when the object will restore in its resting position even though the force alters its equilibrium। Okay, जब भी किसी ऑब्जेक्ट पे किसी भी तरीके का फोर्स लगता है बट वो वापस से अपनी स्टेबल कंडीशन में आ जाता है, दैट इज अ स्टेबल इक्विलिब्रियम। Okay, but in an unstable equilibrium, the minimum force is enough to alter the equilibrium of an object। Okay, and the base of support over here is less and the center of gravity is higher in position। मतलब कि क्या होगा, उसकी stability unbalance होगी, उसकी stability hamper होगी। Okay, and the object will be having lesser amount of equilibrium। But what happens in a neutral equilibrium, that even though movement or position changes in the object by the force exerted on it, there will not be any change in the center of gravity of the object। ठीक है, स्टेबल इक्विलिब्रियम में क्या हो रहा था कि ऑल्दो सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी अगर ऑल्टर हो भी रही थी, देन ऑल्सो फोर्सेस इतने इक्विफाई, इतने इक्वल हो रहे थे कि वो वापस से अपनी स्टेबल कंडीशन में आ रहा था। ठीक है, बट इन अनस्टेबल इक्विलिब्रियम, because the base of support was reducing, center of gravity was going high, so the stability of the body was getting hampered। Okay, but in the neutral equilibrium, even though movement is there, even though forces are acting on the object and the center of gravity is changing, still the object is maintaining its stable position। All right, then the next thing that we will see is Newton's law of force। Okay, so we know the three laws of Newton: law of inertia, law of acceleration, and law of action and reaction। Okay, so we'll just quickly revise what is law of inertia: that an object will remain at rest or in uniform motion unless and until it is disturbed by an external force। Okay, the body or the object will continue to remain in its motion state or a dynamic state or a state of rest until and unless I will apply an external force on the object that will change its position or change its direction। Okay, या तो वो state of rest से moving होने लग जाएगा, dynamic होने लग जाएगा, या फिर dynamic से वो वापस से state of rest में आ जाएगा। Okay. Second law of Newton states, that is the law of acceleration, that the rate of changing of velocity is called as acceleration and the velocity is directly proportional to the acceleration and inversely proportional to the mass of an object। ठीक है, ये सारा formulas हमने सबने पढ़े हुए हैं 12th class physics में। Okay, force equals to mass into acceleration। Okay, and the third action Third law of Newton is law of action and reaction. Okay, so what does it state? That for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, right? So when an object applies a force to the second object must simultaneously apply a force equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to that of the first object, right? And these two forces that are applied to the two contacting objects are an interaction pair, and also can be called as action reaction pair, right? For example, whenever we are walking, whenever we are in the gait cycle, okay, so whenever we are walking, the ground reaction forces, when our foot stays on the ground and we push the ground in order to clear the ground and take the next step forward, right? An equal amount of ground reaction force is put on our foot by the ground, okay? So we are putting the action, that is, we are pushing onto the ground, and ground reaction forces is when ground is pushing you back, that is helping you actually complete your gait cycle and complete the next step. Okay, next we come to the point of statics and dynamics. So statics is nothing just the same but study of conditions where the objects are remaining at rest, and dynamics means study of conditions where the object is moving. All right, and we will just define quickly what is inertia. So inertia is natural tendency of an object to resist the changes in its motion, including changes to its speed or direction, right? हम किसी भी तरीके से किसी भी बॉडी या फिर ऑब्जेक्ट के मोशन में चेंजेस कैसे लेके आ सकते हैं, या तो हम उसका फोर्स ऑफ मैग्नीट्यूड बढ़ा देंगे, या फिर हम उसका एक्सेलरेशन में चेंज कर देंगे, वेलोसिटी की डायरेक्शन में चेंज कर देंगे, ठीक है? तो नेचुरल टेंडेंसी ऑफ अ बॉडी टू रेजिस्ट दैट चेंज, ओके, टू रेजिस्ट दैट चेंज एंड remain in the previous state of motion, including changes to its speed, changes to its direction, is known as inertia. Okay, and it is a fundamental property of matter which was described by Newton's first law of inertia, right? Where object will remain at rest or stay at rest, and objects in motion stay in motion unless acted upon by an external force.